Just a second. He is Miss King. I'm just the vice chair. King Trump. I'm a nothing. All right.
I did.
Approval of minutes in the previous meeting.
I would move for the
Minutes be accepted as written. Any additions, reactions?
I'll second.
Okay, very good. Those in favor? Okay. We recently lost somebody that's very near and dear to this, everybody on this side of the table. Thank you. And I'm sure to a lot of people out there. So I'd like to have a moment of silence for Sherry Chang. Thank you. Selectmen's comments, Colin.
The Efficiency Maine lighting fixture project, that's progressed to the next stage. Both at Bath Electric and Gilman have been here to discuss the situation, and we're waiting for a proposal from them. From what I read, we should get a fairly substantial amount of it rebated or subsidized from Efficiency Maine.
Last time we did it, they gave us 90%.
90, yeah.
Both sides of the building?
The whole building, yeah. I did ask about the, whether it would be useful to do it in two projects, but he said it would be way cheaper to do it all at the same time, so.
Did we tack on the north station too?
Oh, I did not ask him about that, yeah, okay, so we can, yeah, there's probably a dozen fixtures there,
Yeah.
something like that. The Public Safety Advisory Committee had a meeting last week to review the Community Resilience Grant mailing, a resource mailing to residents that we hopefully will get done this week. So that was a really productive meeting. It's a great committee, I think. It was really,
yeah.
Sean and Danny were both there. It's really good. I also heard back from the Maine Connectivity Authority about our proposed project to do publicly accessible Wi-Fi hotspots around the town building. They declined to allow us to do that project.
To use their money to do that?
Yeah, they actually had to turn around and go to the funders and to double check. But she did say that the meeting room enhancements to allow for better recording and streaming and stuff like that, which we had sort of tentatively talked about, those are definitely approved. So I've got 2 vendors giving us quotes this week for those. That's it.
Okay, Allison?
I wanted to thank everybody who came to the tree lighting event on Sunday, despite the weather. I thought it was really well attended. Thank you all for your participation. And, yeah.
Jason?
So a couple things. Allison and I met with Ruth from Kelt on Friday. We're just kind of keeping updated on this grant funding and the progress of Station 46 and all these projects that are going to take place at some point. So a couple things that she's still working on, but things are going forward as the board knows, and we relayed to her that hopefully in the spring or early summer we'd be able to put out the septic replacement and those sorts of things. And she's assured us that funding is there for all that. We talked about the hydrant out here. This hydrant is going to be very close to the relocated road. The road's moving some. As we know, the road's starting at the hydrant going down. And so I contacted Bath Water District today, and they will be working up a price to, and Sean, I assume you're on board with, or okay with this, to relocate, do away with that hydrant, put a new hydrant over here in the piece of lawn between the two parking lots.
And Kelt's money will pay for that?
But that's,
That's what she said,
we're at the
yeah.
meeting, yeah. I think the first step is to find out what it costs. It will be a little pricey, obviously, because we did learn today that our 6-inch water service and 2-inch water service come off of the hydrant extension, so, but it's all doable, and I think that will be fine. So that's one thing. Do you want to talk about the Williams family,
Yeah, did you want to talk about the,
the schoolhouse? No.
the watershed project that Nate Bodge did for?
Yes, well, real quick, so I think most of the board knows, but as a follow-up to the Williams family cemetery discussion,
Yep.
I did hear back from Jerome Bailey. He's talked to the family descendant. I think what he's looking for from the town is for us to secure under the law the access to this ancient burial ground, which is, I think, how we interpret it. They're looking for a walking path, not looking for any funding or anything from us. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the one up on Mountain Road.
right.
So I said I'd talk to the board, I proposed that we all meet, you know.
On site?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should have an on-site meeting.
Yeah.
First of all, we've got to determine which lot it's on.
Right, Jerome Bailey seems to think it may be on Nick Sewell's, who just passed away, but the Sewell property, or it may be on, we looked in the files. It isn't really clear, but we ought to meet on site and with this, Mr. Williams Fowler and Mr. Bailey and the board and figure out where to go and facilitate whatever.
Why
But
don't
that's-
we try to set that up for an afternoon sometime before it gets too dark?
Yeah, I got one other thing I forgot to tell you guys about. I was approached at, I was actually at the funeral, and I was approached by Betsy Varian and Rick Varian, and they own the property behind the cemetery, the meeting house, and they would like to put it on the market. I think we all may have discovered that the town cemetery fence may be on their property. They're looking to just resolve that in some way without any big fuss, and I don't really know what that means, but I have suggested that on the, I believe our next meeting is the 20th, Kim? And I had suggested that if the board agrees that they come at 5 o'clock, and we,
I've been told that usually there is no second meeting in December.
well,
Normally, that's true, because it falls usually fairly close to Christmas, but this year it's
quite a
not
ways
that,
away, yeah.
it's not that close. So I think we should do a second.
Is this
I think
because-
we should do a
Is
second.
that because I'm not
meeting.
gonna be?
Is it because you're not gonna be here?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. Anyway, do we wanna do, I mean, yeah.
I think we should meet
yeah,
with them.
Yeah,
If I remember correctly, I did some work over there one time, and if I remember correctly, that fence is not very far from the blast of the gravestones.
Yeah.
it isn't.
I don't know if it would be possible for us to move it too far.
Well, I'm not even sure that's in the
If,
cards.
We could
yeah.
work out a deal with them, or they just, gave us.
I think there's a couple of
10 feet of
options,
land.
that's right. There may be a couple of options, and I think that the crew that's been volunteering over there, I think some of the brush and some of the debris is getting over, been thrown over the fence, and of course that may end up being a, but it's not there's no adversarial position there, it's just that we need to figure out what to do
How
to,
big a lot?
their property?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember, it's either 4
Right,
acres. Do you
so
remember, that was a site that the town had looked at one time for, it's 4 acres, 6 acres?
Is that the brown house?
No, it's,
No,
it's
it's,
the
no,
property
no,
right
There's no
behind.
house on it.
There's the old
Oh, yeah.
excavator, there's an old excavator sitting on the property. You go around the corner here, there's a big old yellow excavator sitting there, it's been there for 15 years.
Yeah. So anyway, she's willing to come at 5 on the 20th if the board agrees, and we can look at maps, and she has a survey too, so we can discuss
Yeah,
that.
we should look at, we should meet with them, we should look and see how much, I mean, if we're 5 feet over or something, maybe we can work out some kind of deal.
I mean, I made the point that obviously they bought that property, the fence probably has been there for a long time, right? And so
Yeah.
obviously when they bought it,
Longer than when they bought
yeah,
it.
you guys do.
Adverse possession probably gets you.
Yeah, so I know, and she said, look, we don't even want, I think there's a way to work it out, so anyway, let's see what we can do with that, and then, did you want to talk about the
Did I
union?
give it to you? Yeah.
Union Bridge.
Yeah, I think you did you read it?
Yeah, I did. The water district has bought the property up by Union Bridge. It has the old town schoolhouse on it. When I first heard about it, I was kind of interested in looking at it and everything. But Jason and I looked at the tax map tonight. I was under the impression that property bordered our property at the old townhouse. There's actually two properties in between us and that.
Yeah.
So I have no interest in it at all, because what I was originally thinking was that we'd close off the driveway to it, put a walking path from the old townhouse, and try to preserve the building just because it is a, you know, it was an old town schoolhouse for 100 years or so. But it's in such terrible shape, full of rodents and mold and everything else, I think we should just pass on it.
So and they will probably tear it down?
They're gonna bulldoze it, yeah.
Yep, so what they said was, yeah, so it is in very poor shape. The building is open if the board wants to go look at it, but it's got some real issues and.
They did say that we could put, if we wanted to put some kind of a plaque or a monument up there announcing that that was old,
Former
the site of an old town schoolhouse. I think the last time it was used was in the early 50s, just before they built the central school.
1850s?
No, 1950s.
While we're on that, he's assured me too that there's no plans at all to change the usage of the existing access there.
To the creek?
Yeah, he said there's no, if anything, the water district has offered that when there's minor maintenance or gravel or things that need to be done there, they're willing to
Whether you can launch boats, hand carry boats right beside the
Yeah.
Union Bridge.
help out. Anyway, that's all I have.
What's your plan for the land?
Just to keep it.
Just to keep
preserve-
it?
Yeah, it's in the watershed and to preserve the quality of the lake and.
I just wonder if there's any chance of extra parking on that bottom layer
Pretty
maybe or
steep lot,
something.
I don't, you know,
Yeah,
the
they have
lot
that
goes
small,
uphill pretty quick.
under the hill there's a little bit of a cutout there that.
Just a quick history, that was done through an Androscoggin Valley Soil and Water Conservation Project, you guys remember a few years ago, and that was because of erosion going into the lake. So they partnered with the town and the road commissioner and the town did, I think we ended up doing the work there. That idea was to prevent more problems.
What, the create the parking area?
Well, yeah, because I think if you recall, where the dry hydrant is on the other side, they were accessing the lake and going right off over the bank and eroding the,
Okay.
so this was kind of a way to
Yeah,
steer
it was
everybody
a
over.
erosion control setup.
It was, yeah, steer everybody over there, you know, keep
It's pretty sketchy over there.
it does, I mean, I know folks in the neighborhood pick up some stuff, and he just said that since they've been over there, and they sent a couple people over, and hopefully that may actually help with some of the garbage problems, and
The town actually has a pretty wide right of way right there, so 99% of that is on our property anyway.
yeah.
The parking area?
Well, the old bridge used to be, so in 55 or whatever, the bridge was put, that concrete bridge was put in, the other bridge is to the north of it slightly, so the survey indicates that it's quite wide there. But
Yeah, I'm thinking the parking on the sides of the roads is, some days
Oh.
they'll park on both
Oh,
sides of
yeah.
the roads and it narrows it up quite a bit and.
It would be nice to have a larger parking
Yeah,
area.
yeah, when it is busy in the wintertime, but if that parking lot, no disrespect, but if you held 20 cars, they still park at the bottom of the hill,
You're probably right.
go ice fishing or whatever, but anyway,
Okay,
that's it.
that's it. I have nothing tonight. Anybody from the public want to talk to us about anything? If it's not on the agenda, we'll listen to you now. If it's on the agenda, wait for it to come up, please, Tom.
Just had a couple things. Alice and I wanted to reiterate, I still have not seen anything from Maine
Okay. I
CDC.
will follow up
So
tomorrow.
if they can answer the simple questions, I have more questions to add
Okay.
to that.
Got it.
Thank you.
I forgot one thing.
Okay, Jason?
Did you want me to bring up the Dresden?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I forgot this. So, I just learned yesterday, and I saw it on Facebook, that the town of Dresden is in the process of reviewing, the planning board's in the process of reviewing a proposed quarry mining operation.
Ledge pit.
Yeah, ledge pit blasting quarry thing. It's up on Middle Road, it's north of Indian Road, it's near the James Eddy camps there somewhere. There's a site visit on Sunday, but they're accepting written comments and whatnot. Now, clearly it's in their town, it's on a state road, and I'm not trying to say yea or nay, I just didn't know, I talked to most of the board members here. Any sort of activity of any scale is definitely going to increase traffic on state road on 27.
Price tracking helps you decide when to book.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get my,
Okay.
I'm just trying to find the
It's-
ledge pit.
it's still-
I can't find it,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah,
Out
So go ahead.
So anyway, I wondered if the board was interested in writing some sort of a letter of concern, if not to the town.
I think we should write a letter with our concerns. I mean, if anybody's coming down this way, we know that the middle road's in terrible shape as it is now, and we know that we can't get the state to do practically anything about it. And the trucks that, you know, the trucks of today are a lot bigger than what they were back in the 50s and 60s. I mean, you know, the triacs and the trailer dumps and all that, they can carry a lot of weight down that road. And, you know, if they're gonna try to get to Route 1, the closest road to Route 1 is the old stage road. And, you know, I think we should write to Dresden and tell them that we have some concerns about loading more traffic onto that road heading south.
What it appears to be is, you know, whether not taking a position of yea or nay, it seems like they're very fast. No, they're very fast
It's
though.
fast tracked.
The process that they up there seems to be, you know, I looked at their minutes, I tried to research and Allison did too, and it seems like, you know, this came up a month or so ago, and it just seems like, boom, there's a site visit, and a week from tonight, I think, is their public hearing, and it actually says in the agenda, public hearing and approval, and I just,
I don't know how you can announce the approval before you have the public hearing.
Well, what it did say is that it had what, DEP
I mean,
and.
it sounds like it's kind of a done deal, you
Yeah.
know.
That's what we need for
yeah.
democracy.
I mean, Bill, you have all.
I've been through that, when it does happen that way, you have a meeting and you show them what you're gonna do, and
You leave.
either then or the next time you get an approval, that goes very quickly.
I mean, like I say, but you of all people know what we went through here in the 80s and 90s and all that, and it's their town, and I get it, but this could have a really big impact depending on I don't think anybody even knows the scale, or I don't anyway, of, you know, fire EMS, the road, the traffic. I think we all remember the trucking days of the 80s and 90s. You know, in Kenny's store and diner, if you will, founded on the busy area. I mean, I just think we may want to, just curious to.
Yeah, I think we should just write a little letter and voice our concerns. I don't think we should take a position yea or nay because it's not our town, but I think we should voice our concerns. Let's face it, nobody's gonna go north and go to Dresden Center and go down 27 to get to Route 1. I mean, if they're gonna get to Route 1, they're gonna come down the middle road to the old stage road.
Who should it go to, the select board, to the planning board, to the town
I
administrator?
think it should be sent to all of the above.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because being a state road, that is gonna be traveled, when it does open, it's gonna be 24/7, because it doesn't get posted.
Right.
That's
No,
right,
Yeah.
yeah. I guess one last question is, Jason and I are willing to draft it tomorrow, but the meeting is what, Wednesday?
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I only know what
we
I've
can
read.
Yeah, I know, me too, but, we can just share it amongst ourselves and make
Just
it
do it
email.
offline and
You
then.
had, Tommy had some good points too, you had some
Yeah,
good
okay,
verbiage
okay.
about, yeah, it's just, I think we know that, I don't believe there's another wedge quarry. And it's something that you just takes some thought and process, think about this and, I don't know.
That's right, the meeting's not till Wednesday, so.
Yeah, do you know anything that we don't?
I didn't know there was any legend dress, I thought it was all gravel.
Yeah, they hauled that all off.
It's opposite James
Jack,
Eddy
you had
Smelt
a
Camp.
comment, Jack?
Well, I'm just gonna say, due to its location, it has the potential to increase a lot more truck traffic than what we have now.
Yes.
Because all of our other operations are on the other side of the river. So any material on this side is gonna have to come back down the middle road as well. So it has the potential for almost doubling the traffic on 127.
Right, I mean, as we know, Dresden has Indian Road posted for no-through truck traffic. They have Glen Hill Road because of Crooker's operation to no-through truck traffic, right? We know Wiscasset does Federal Street, Phil, 218 section, no, you have to go around, can't go through town, right? Truck traffic. So it would appear that if this was of any scale, to go south or whatever, you're gonna go down 127. And so it's gonna come through Woolwich. And it may happen, it may not, but as we've seen with other operations in the area, in Brunswick, Thompson, whatever.
Anybody going south is gonna take 127 right down to Cumberland Farms and back right. Anybody going north is gonna wanna cut across the old stage road
Yeah.
and get to Route 1 that way.
Or in Quonset,
So, if they were going behind your back.
Yeah, that's a good point,
On the old stage road. But then we would be in a position where we'd have to post the old stage road for no few trucks like everything else.
It is,
It is posted for
it
that.
is, it doesn't seem.
Yeah, I know.
Good.
Yeah. Who's gonna police it?
Jason, you know who the applicant is for that?
Yeah, I think it's,
Trivet,
yeah.
Nathan
Yeah,
Trivet?
Nathan Trevor, yeah, out of Richmond, he's Gary Nash's grandson. He is the owner of Jacob's former pit. And, like I say, you know, it's just, I think what was surprising, and you vouched for me, when you saw this, the butters that got notification for like Sunday's thing, they just got it a day or two ago.
Yeah.
They're like, we didn't know anything about this, and it
That's
just,
great,
yeah, it just seems like, you know, this is kind of significant, or maybe it's not, but it seems like. it
But
is.
you're saying that, I mean, this is the way that they operate.
The board is usually very quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
So
that's,
we'll draft the letter and do that.
Yep, yep.
okay, stay tuned.
All right. Public comment. Anybody got anything they want to talk to us about? Seeing none, move on. Town administrator's report.
Well, the audit is complete, as we will sign the papers later. I have talked to Dean and asked her to provide me with carry forwards. I haven't heard back from her, I've emailed her twice. I know they're very busy still with auditing, they did 3 last week that they are just beside themselves, so. But it is December and I'm sure everybody would like to know where they stand financially with all the carry forwards. So hopefully we'll hear back something soon. I got an email today from a lady, Tammy, who works with Maine DOT, and they have procured some pedestrian road signs, and it was on a first come, first served thing, so I said that we wanted to have 2 crosswalk signs, so if I replied soon enough, then hopefully we will get 2 of those, and I thought that would be good for that crosswalk over there.
Our very first crosswalk.
Yeah, I put that in there, we just put a crosswalk.
Does it go in the middle of the road? What is this?
They sit on a rubber weighted.
So
On
hopefully I'll
either
hear
side?
something
Or?
back tomorrow.
Okay.
It'll be nice. Something free.
Something for you to plow around. Well, nice.
We were talking about purchasing some, so if we can get them for free, that's even better.
Yeah. I talked to Chris last week, and he said that the Bailey Bluff contract has been signed. So they were in agreement on the price, but now that Jorgensen has been reaching out to them, they are crickets again. And Chris is very frustrated, so he's gonna continue to keep me in the loop. Hopefully, you know, I said it's Christmas time and holidays, so hopefully they just are waiting until after the holidays, and hopefully they'll get going on the contract. Some of you have probably already gotten a letter in the mail from the town of Woolwich.
Oh, I haven't.
You haven't got, Jason got his today. So it is a letter from the assessing firm from Deerville. It tells you all the procedures of they're gonna be coming to the house. And also an updated recycling calendar because there was a hiccup in the last one. Yes.
Can we post that letter on the town
Yes.
website?
I will do that. And I know Allison, you had mentioned and sent an article the other day about the Tedford housing.
Mm-hmm.
So I noticed today that Brunswick did do a donation of
I
$200,000.
did see that.
I thought it was interesting because the new town administrator for Arousik had reached out about ARPA, that they haven't even accepted their ARPA funds yet for the town of
Arousik has
Arousik.
not?
No. And he had asked me if Tedford Housing had reached out to them, or had reached out to us, because they had reached out to them. And I said, well, you obviously give them a donation, it's in your town report. He said, no, they reached out for, their capital funds. And
So for this project?
Yes. So, I know that Brunswick used their ARPA funds to pay the $200,000, so that's what Arousik was planning on doing, was using some of their ARPA funds.
Did they, has Arousik landed on a figure?
No.
And they would.
He doesn't even know how to do the ARPA. He hasn't taken any classes. Dennis somebody, I can't remember her last name. But he is.
Oh, Denise Parker.
Denise?
Yeah.
Wasn't it a Maine?
Just a low voice.
Okay.
No.
Well, I just dealt with him by email.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Oh.
she is working remotely in Ohio
Yeah,
for the winter.
for the, yeah.
I don't know. So,
And that would require town meeting authority.
right, yeah.
Mhm.
I thought that was interesting. So anyway, I still have not received anything from Tedford Housing.
So are we, yeah, but that makes
But-
me think that we will be getting a request. Because the
Maybe.
$700 that we give them every year is simply an annual
Yep.
whatever, right?
But I don't know how much left. We have we have a small fraction of ARPA funding.
I think most of our ARPA funding is community.
Yes, so I
And
don't
then
know
the other-
where we would be
Yeah.
contributing money from.
Well, and the other thing is that we also saw in the paper that the Bath YMCA is requesting,
They're gonna be,
construction for a date, I think for a childcare.
right.
And David reminded me
They're gonna
that,
be asking for $30,000.
but we haven't gotten that either.
No, we haven't, not officially.
So those are some things to
Well,
consider.
so a reminder, first of all, right, we would never be able to do any of that without town meeting
Right.
approval, right? And our ARPA funds, for the most part, have been committed, and I think we did a lot of good deeds with that
Yes.
money. That's
And that's all I have.
interesting.
Thank you.
I just wanted to touch base before we move on about this whole reval thing. I've had several people talking to me about the reval, wanted to know if it was gonna be like Brunswick's, you know, where things were gonna double and triple. And I said that the difference between us and Brunswick is that the town meeting tells us what we can spend. So we already have a target number. We know how much money we need to raise. So if the entire town, if everybody's assessment doubled, our mill rate would cut by 50%, because we only raise what the town meeting gave us. In Brunswick, it's a representative form of government. They can decide to spend $200,000 for this, or $200,000 for that, and then only 9 people makes that decision. Thank God we don't have that kind of governance system in this town. So I assured everybody that if you see your evaluation go way up, and that happens town-wide, you're gonna see the mill rate go down quite a lot, because, again, we have a set number of money that we have to raise, so.
I'm not convinced that everyone on the Brunswick Town Council really understood the process, right? Or they had a staff person, you know, in charge of it, and so they didn't really have to know.
You're right, and again, you know, I mean, they decided to spend, what, $3 million to buy that piece of land down on Mill Point, so nobody could build houses on it, you know? I mean, that's, you know, they can commit the town to that sort of thing just by a vote of 9 people, you know?
Thank goodness.
But anyways, the town-wide evaluation here, reval in this town is necessary. Everybody that gets any kind of benefit from open space, veteran, anything like that, we're gonna see a significant drop in the amount of money that the state gives us to reimburse for that, so that, you know, it's gonna cost us money if we don't do the reval.
Yeah, actually, I was talking to a resident today about why his tax bill had gone up. Not a lot, but it was because the reimbursement for the homestead exemption had changed. Yeah.
And you all know how the homestead exemption works anyways, right? The state doesn't reimburse us 100% of that. A certain percentage of that, you take it out of your left pocket and put it in your right pocket.
It's in the letter.
We have to raise the mill rate to raise some of the money so we can give it back to you. It's a joke. All right, we'll move on. Road Commission, Jack.
I don't really have anything, everything posted. No, I would like to thank the fire department for all their help on whenever the trees are down and so on. We work quite well together, and it all works out well, but I don't know of any problems. I've been around the roads, in fact, I did yesterday, and everything's in pretty decent condition as of now.
Anybody have any questions for Jack? Hearing none? Thanks, Jack. Do we have anything from Chris?
No, just that Bailey Bluff
All right.
update.
EMS Director, Danny.
So we are on track for probably around 360 calls this year, the calendar year. We're currently sitting at right under 340, and with December to go. So it's been a busy year. And Ben Barker stepped into the role of the EMS lieutenant in charge of equipment and inventory, so we have a full officer slate now, and lessen the load on the rest of us. So he's been doing the job anyways for the past 6 months. He finally just caved in and took the title. So the vehicle that we're swapping the winter tires on the ambulances because it's that time of year, and we put the sand on them. The charger for the batteries in Rescue 2 is dying. So we have to get a new one put in. We got a quote from Greenwood. It will be $992, and that will go out as soon as they can schedule it. So it's not starting sometimes, so we have to get that replaced. We had the training with Dr. Giverson here. Went really well, I think. We had about 23 students attend. And from area departments, Aroostook, Georgetown, Wiscasset, Topsom was telling people about it, Booth Bay, some people came. So it was really well attended. Waldoboro.
One guy that.
Yep. So we had, one of the guys from Waldoboro was actually a Portland firefighter. He lives in Ulm. So it went really well. Montsuite Restaurant donated a pork loin dinner for everyone for it, so it was really nice. So it went really well, and we made some good connections with the other departments, and I think all our work on doing that is starting to make a difference. We had people invited to a training in Pittsburgh, a pretty expensive training they paid nothing for, geriatric medicine training, all-day thing, and we had 3 of our providers go to that. So we're making those connections now. We have no trainings for December because of the holidays. It's just really hard to schedule times for it for people, but we'll pick it back up in January, and we have a lot of different things planned. So I think it's going really well, our outreach and bringing the training back to life for the department.
Thanks, Dan.
And that's it.
Sean, fire chief's report.
We've had 5 calls this month. We're up 12 calls from last year so far. We're probably on track to push about 190 calls of fire calls this year. Today, we had a mutual aid call to Dresden. When we get back from that, we had to refill some air balls, and our compressor is not working again. So I've reached out to fire tech. They're going to send a technician up probably next week to see what the scoop is for that. Probably going to have to consider putting that on the town warrant for next year to replace that. I remember we went through this 6 months ago. We had to do some maintenance to that. So, problem is they don't make that compressor anymore. It's outdated. I don't know how. I think it's 20 plus years old. It's just.
What, do you have a ballpark figure?
26,000. Yeah, that's the quote we got 6 months ago. So, but just one of those things. So we'll make do with what we have now. We'll have to go to Bath to get air right now until we do otherwise. But yeah, that's all I have. Engine 3 got tires on it yesterday. Well, those tires are on.
Sean, you know we had a discussion about your payroll.
Yeah.
You've got, what, almost $4,000 in your training budget?
4,400.
So if you had a lot of extra training this summer, if you could figure out how much that affected your payroll budget, we could just simply transfer some of that money from your training budget to your payroll budget. So if you could give us a number, just look back at how many people attended and what it cost and everything, and then we could make it a little bit better that way.
Yeah, I figured you guys had asked about it. I know it's high. Just want to remind the board, we hired 6 people from last year. The increase, obviously, your labor increased quite a bit of what we have to do. So, and we're still working on trying to maintain that. A big portion of that is the mandatory little things. People have to drive trucks 10 hours each truck. So that's a lot of drive time. We're trying to do with what we can, but.
Wait, say that again? So the people are driving too many hours?
No, they have to drive that thing. The state I'm struggling to get people enough time to drive trucks.
You remember the requirement that they have about training on each vehicle?
Yeah.
They have to
It has to
actually.
be logged, it has to be documented, you have to do it a certain amount of hours per truck per year.
Per
Each-
person.
each
Per person,
individual-
per operator.
Because we went through that with the boat
Yeah.
and the
Oh, yeah.
MTU
Oh, yeah.
dealer.
Wow.
So that's what's racking up extra
Okay.
time
Oh,
and fuel and everything else. But, and that we're, like I said, we're 12 calls ahead of last year, so pretty much anything from now to the end of the year is going to be extra. So,
Their calendar year.
yeah,
Yeah. okay.
Yeah.
January.
yeah, the calendar year. Yeah, so I think that's what's eating up a lot of it. But I know I've kind of pretty much on a spending freeze other than maintenance stuff right now until we get into the next year and get closer to the budget and we'll see.
Anybody have any questions or comments or anything? Okay, thanks, Sean. Old business, you have anything? Okay. New business, financial audit letter. Motion to have me sign this?
So
So
we'll-
moved. Second.
Okay, those in favor? Okay, pass that one down, I have to sign both copies.
I think, you know, one of the points that you made, David, is the praise for the staff and Kim in
Yes.
particular. which
They
I
give Kim,
think deserves
they give
repeat.
Kim very high marks in this letter, and I think she deserves it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's what I'm-
Thank you. Okay. Oh, okay. We didn't talk about the old bridge, the old schoolhouse. Did we make a decision on that?
Yeah, I think, well, we didn't vote on it, but I think
We didn't vote on it, but I think, by consensus, I think we're gonna tell the water district that we're just not
yeah,
interested.
he's not surprised to hear that.
Yeah, no.
Did you ever get a bill for the propane one, or they ever got that?
Yep, I did.
Was it, did they say what the cost, or did they say that, oh, how much was it, first of all?
Oh, I got a bill for the propane. I don't know if I got a bill for the
Okay,
installing the tank. I don't,
okay, the repair, I mean,
yeah.
whatever the week was.
I'm wondering,
Okay, what it was.
yeah,
Okay.
I gotta look and see.
I was curious how that's gonna settle out with the meeting house,
Yes.
or the tank.
Yes.
Whatever that costs, we should pass that on to the contractor.
It's gotta be something, there was obviously some damage in the leak, and so
I'm sure they didn't repair it,
no.
No.
I don't
I'm
think
sure
so.
that they.
I think we got it when we got the propane bill because we filled it up. But off the top of my head, I cannot.
No, that's right, and they put it back at 50%.
Yes.
And so at some point, we're gonna have to figure out that math and see what we wanna do or what the problem is.
Yes.
All right,
Okay.
good.
Anybody have anything else coming before the board?